All right, you're live.
It's okay.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us.
Really?
Hello.
Good morning everyone, and thank you for being here today. Today's event is about something that unites us all as Americans, the right to vote. Since the 2020 presidential election, we have seen 19 states pass 33 laws that restrict access to the ballot. In the guise of election security, state legislatures all across the country are implementing laws that ranging from purging voters off voting lists to making it a crime to pass out water and snacks while voters waiting in line. Let me be clear. These laws are not about securing our elections. They're about preserving the status quo. They're about restriction and suppression, intentionally putting up barriers and disenfranchising millions of Americans. These restrictions are discriminatory, offensive, and are a blatant power grab. The right to vote is a basic human right. And the fact of the matter is, as Americans, we've had to fight for this right. And here we are, again, in 2021, seeing this right under attack. Fortunately, there are two pieces of legislation that together will preserve our democracy and ensure that all Americans, no matter their background, zip code, will have a fair and equal opportunity to cast their ballots. The Freedom to Vote Act and the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act will secure millions of Americans access to the ballot box and ensure that our democratic experiment will continue in this country for generations to come. Now, let me please introduce you our first panelist, Dr. Karen Hardin. Dr. Karen Hardin is serving in her fourth year as president of the Maricopa County Branch NAACP. She is a faculty emeritus from Maricopa Community College District. Dr. Hardin earned a master's in psychology and a master's in counseling. Her doctorate is in educational leadership from NAU. Along with teaching for the college district, she has developed and spearheaded numerous programs to enhance the success for underrepresented student populations. Her dedication to the community is demonstrated by her membership in service organizations such as Top Ladies Distinction Phoenix Chapter, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Delta Beta Omega Chapter, and Jack and Jill of America Phoenix Chapter alumni. Now let's please welcome Dr. Hardin.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you very much. Welcome, everyone. It's my pleasure to be with you this morning. And as we do what we can to protect the right to vote for everyone. At this time, I would like to introduce my esteemed colleague, my friend for years, Dr. Westenberg. Shall I say who needs no introduction? Right? Okay? You guys didn't even let me say the stuff before you start clapping. Dr. Westenberg. Dr. Camila Westenberg has a bachelor's degree of science in music and English from the University of Arkansas, Pine Bluff. excuse me, okay. There you go, just hold this. Okay. There we go. Pine Bluff. She also has a master's degree in communications, focusing on code switching from the Black dialect to standard English from Arizona State University, and her doctorate degree in higher education, focusing on curriculum development, is from Nova University. Dr. Westenberg taught English at Phoenix College for over 30 years in the English department, and she was awarded faculty emeritus status as well after serving 30 years in the district. She also served for about 15 years as the advisor to the Phoenix College NAACP chapter. She and I served together. I served as faculty advisor to the Mesa College chapter. Our other colleague, Princess Lucas Wilson, served as faculty advisor for the Arizona State University NAACP College chapter as well. Dr. Westenberg developed and taught a class called Rap Literature, the oral tradition, and has presented on the genre numerous times in the United States and in Ghana. Dr. Westenberg and I, we both share this commitment to the community, and she also is a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Delta Beta Omega chapter. She's a member of Top Ladies of Distinction. She also serves as the our historical Black College and University Fair, HBCU Fair, that Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated has sponsored at Phoenix College for numerous of years. She is the vice president for programs of the Phoenix chapter of the Links Incorporated. And she is our second vice president for the Maricopa County branch of the NACP. And I have the pleasure of serving with her in all of those organizations. My friend, Dr. Westenberg.
Greetings, everyone. I am delighted and Yonasda,
Yes.
please come.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
I am delighted to introduce and welcome back to one of her homes, Queen Yonasda Lonewolf. She grew up in Phoenix and on the reservation. I am also proud to say that she is a Phoenix College alum. Yonasda is both Oglala, Lakota, Sioux, and African American. She walks through life exhibiting the spirit of her mother, motivational speaker, the late Yonasda Lonewolf, and her father, a fine artist. Her experiences have taken her literally to many vantage points regarding our democracy, with which we have not been, but only which we may have heard of. Above all, Yonasda is the mother of 2 sons. I am going to let, she has been involved with so many noteworthy people. If you will just take a few seconds, because we're going to ask you to elaborate with some final comments at the end. But just a brisk, very brief accounting of your travels. Yonasda, thank you for gracing us with your presence today as we critique our current democratic state of affairs, incorporating your lens on the world to help us ultimately find legislative solutions that will lead to a lasting democracy by Indigenous people of our society and ultimately for all Americans. So you know how I give it, just snippet, just a snippet.
Patu Ashe, thank you. Greetings, relatives. My name is Yonasda Lonewolf. I'm a proud Okolala Lakota and World Tribal member of the from Pine Ridge, South Dakota, and my father's Black from Brooklyn. And I want to thank the NAACP and Common Cause for inviting me and having me come, especially during this time. This Monday is Indigenous Peoples Day. So to acknowledge that and to invite me here back to my hometown is really important. Some of the work, I hate to speak about everything that I've done, but I founded an organization called Indigenous Peoples Movement. We had the Indigenous Peoples March in 2019. Who remembers a viral video of some teens or a young person in a MAGA hat with a Native American elder that was singing the song? So that was at my march, and it happened right after our march, and so it put us in the forefront of change, of movement, and also coalition building. And so I'm a huge coalition organizer, and I learned that from my second mother, Fatima Halim, that is here. She was also my mother's best friend. So give a round of applause for Fatima. She's a change maker in Arizona and abroad. So I've learned about organizing from Fatima and Juanetta here of how we coalition build. And I really believe I'm a strong advocate on making sure, not just because I'm Native American and Black, but I'm a strong advocate to make sure that it's not just the Black representation and not just the Latino representation or the Asian or even the whites, but also Native Americans as well. And that we don't just, we bring everyone to the table. So with Indigenous Peoples Movement, we created Indigenous Votes 2020. And with that, with a huge amount of Native American votes, not just nationally, but also here in Arizona, we was able to get President Biden to become president and as well as to flip the state with 60,000 votes here in Arizona alone with our coalition building with Indigenous Peoples Movement, as well as in Georgia as well. And so I've worked with, if anyone knows of Tamika Mallory and Carmen Perez and with the Women's March and Until Freedom, and I've done a lot of great work around marches and legislation and making things happen nationally, and then for us to come together for this change. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much. And the order of the day is we will pose a few questions in sort of like a dialogue back and forth. And at the end, the panelists will be available for questions at the end of our event today. And we will pause for time for questions from the audience. And as I said earlier, I would like to thank each and every one of you for coming out. And we all are in this together. I would like to acknowledge our state conference president, Mr. Charles Faniel, who is here with us today. We appreciate his presence. We also have a representative from the Arizona Informant with us today, and so we appreciate everyone's presence here today. First question is, new and more stringent criminal penalties on election officials and others have been put in place, in the states of Georgia, Iowa, Kansas, and Texas. Okay. These criminal laws will deter elected officials and other people who assist voters from engaging in ordinary, lawful, and often essential tasks when it comes to voting. From your perspective in Georgia, what's the landscape there, and how are these laws affecting folks in Georgia?
So I want to be able to say this, is that even though I Georgia right now, they are suppressing so much of our votes. We witnessed ourselves at these voting polls of people being denied. There is an amazing coalition of Black women voters and get on the buses and things like that to make sure that they are, we're getting people to the polls. This last election was very difficult for us in Georgia in regards to the laws and the governor. We all saw that. The senator, we're seeing such a huge Republican and Democrat fight in Georgia, and I really believe that with this go round, especially with the laws, we have an amazing coalition called Georgia Stand Up, where we have Indigenous people, and there's not any federally recognized tribes that are in the state of Georgia. If we know our history, we know that it was the Trail of Tears and the Indian Removal Act that removed a lot of Native Americans from the state of Georgia. But there is a large indigenous community that are from Latin South America, and with immigration and so many things that they're dealing with, as well as a large Asian community. If everyone remembers, there was a huge mass shooting with the Asian massage parlor, and so that was in Georgia, near Atlanta, Georgia. So we have this amazing coalition of all of us that come together to make sure that we are looking at each other's fights to be able to fight against or for certain laws that are coming at the table, and bipartisan, but more so looking at it from a lens of what's right for human rights, and not just from a partisan situation. I don't know if that answers your question as well.
Thank you. Here in Arizona, there is an effort to purge voters. Many of us have signed up for the permanent early ballot system. I have that. It's a luxury, and during COVID, it really was a luxury for many of us. There is an effort now to purge those individuals who have not voted within the last, it's 3 elections. And what they will do is send out notification to you asking if you want to continue to receive your ballot by mail. And if you do not respond, you will be purged. And there is a sizable number of people who could potentially be purged. And one of the difficulties is when it comes in the mail, unless you are aware of this policy, you just look and say, well, I have my ballot, I'm registered, and you dispose of it, you discard it without looking at it. Is there any such movement taking place in Arizona to restrict voting?
In Georgia?
Yes,
Alabama, one of them?
Well, wait a minute, it's all over the place,
Right.
okay? So,
Yes, it is. The thing is that one thing I love about organizing in Georgia is the way that we mobilize, knocking on doors. I've learned so much in living in Georgia of so many of our elders from the civil rights movement, of how they organized. I was at the 50th anniversary of Bloody Sunday in Alabama, and I walked the bridge with President Obama. Former President Obama walked the bridge at that time, and I stayed with some elders from the civil rights movement, and I'm talking about 80 plus years old women, and I just sat and learned of how they was in heels, mind you, walking, walking from what was it? What's the other place in Alabama? Montgomery to Selma.
Yeah.
And so that long, we drove it, and that's a good it's a good hour drive. So that walk, and so I've learned so much of the way they have organized, and I'm 40 42, and but so many of those in my age and younger are learning from these elders from the civil rights movement on how to organize, and especially around voting rights, and especially around these situations of purging and making sure that we are getting people signed up to be prepared to vote. I mean, it's constant from call banks and everything. And then I wanted to add this in regards to purging or voter suppression. You know, in Standing Rock, North Dakota, they here in Arizona, you all know about Native American culture and things like, okay, so I don't have to do a lot of education in that area, which I love, because we're all one big melting pot here in Phoenix. But as you all know, on reservations, there's P.O. boxes. There is no addresses. And one of the voter suppression situations that happened was in Standing Rock in North Dakota. Standing Rock is my sister tribe. And so they were suppressing, they was making, like, if you did not have an address, you could not register to vote. Not until, what was it, I think 1947 or 1942 was when Native Americans were able to vote. And so, and a lot of people think that our vote doesn't matter, or do we even vote, or any of that. But we do have, we vote for our tribal presidents, but we also vote federally as well as locally, and we have that opportunity to do that. And so we saw a lot of that type of voter suppression happening, and we fought back on that. We came in and was like, you know, we have every right to be able to fight, whether we have a P.O. box or whether we have an address. And this also goes to our Latino brothers and sisters as well that are living in communities that do not have addresses, you know, and making sure, and also that language barrier to make sure that we're connecting together with other Latino organizations on how to get out to vote, and making sure they're not being purged as well. And so that is something, so we set up call banks for 2020 to, you know, we was calling from whatever language you spoke. We made sure that we had calls. We set up a Indigenous Peoples Movement, set up a call center in Standing Rock to call everyone in Georgia. You know, so that's also really important to cross barriers with that. And I want to acknowledge the NAACP in Atlanta, Georgia. I work very closely with the NAACP in Atlanta, Georgia. They're very progressive. They're very, you know, they work with everyone, and they're always present with everyone. And I just want to give that shout out to the NAACP in Atlanta, because in certain cities you do not see that. You see everything as black only. But we have to remember that the NAACP was founded by a Jewish man, a white Jewish man, you know, so we have to know that our injustices is not just only for one race of people, but we're all dealing with a lot of the same injustices.
I just have to put a shout out. Follow the script. Okay, I'll make a note and come back to it, because I want you to know. You know what?
I'll just follow the script. Okay, so, thank you very much for that. Okay. And as you were saying, you know, the NAACP in Atlanta, Georgia is very progressive, right?
Yes.
And I'd like to share with the folks here, those of you that may not know, and I think I might have forgotten to mention that Dr. Westenberg, as well as being our second vice president for the organization, she is the chair of our political action committee, okay? And we were making calls in Atlanta as well.
That is my shout out.
The Maricopa County branch, through Dr. Westenberg's efforts, pulled together about 90 different organizations and individuals to access our phone bank, and we were making calls. And then we also, I connected with the president in Atlanta, turned it over to our political action chair, because if those of you that know Dr. Westenberg, all you have to do is say, will you do this? And then it happens. So then when it was turned over to Dr. Westenberg's political action committee, we were calling from here, because we're all all one. The NAACP is all together. And one of the groups that we cooperated with and partnered with was the Jewish group in Tucson, Arizona, that is working with our group. So our branch is well aware of, we're all in this together, you know, so, and we have a great organization here statewide. So, now, the next question is, okay, the next question that, in Arizona, you know, we have an independent redistricting commission that redraws our legislative maps every 10 years with the census data, right? Because of all of your coalitions and, you know, many states you work in, of those particular states, Georgia, any others, are you familiar with what process they have for redistricting and what's going on in that area? Because, you know, we all know that based on kind of how they district everything can very much influence the outcome,
Yes.
right, of any particular election. So, do you have any
Yes.
experience in that area?
So that's happening right now as we speak, for Atlanta and for Georgia. And the way we looked at the map is more so for Republican. I just want to say this, is that I'm bipartisan.
Mhm.
I just want to say because of the fact that I look at what's right. So I just want to put that out there. But, but I do look at both sides on everything. But in the state of Georgia, they are redistricting. When we're looking at the map, they are pushing a black woman that I love. What is her name? The mother that lost her son. What's her name? Google this. This is why I have my phone. Yeah. Hold on. I'm gonna Google it real quick. I just want to make sure my Lucy. Yes. So they are pushing her out they're pushing her out in regards to where the redistricting is for and she's Democrat to be with more Republicans, and that is because the Republican lady that is running, she is not, her issues and what she's fighting for doesn't really appease the African American community in Atlanta, Georgia, or in Georgia. If anyone been to Atlanta, it's a predominantly black state. And the thing is that the way that they're doing that is to push Lucy out. And so we're outraged in Atlanta. I was just talking to one of my political advisors. I have political advisors because I'm not really a political type of person. I look at what's right and what's wrong and I fight for it on the front line as an activist. But one of my political advisors, I'm like, we need to fight against this. We need to protest. We need to march. We need to do what we have to do in Atlanta, Georgia. And that's one of the ways of solutions that we're looking at. And one thing about Atlanta, Georgia is that we love to march. We march on anything. We are some marching folks, you know. We march on everything. Park Cannon was assaulted by a police officer, you know, in City Hall, and who was a politician, and we marched every day until that police officer apologized and she got her. We will march on anything. So so I was saying, but with this redistricting, we have to be able to start putting action and bringing awareness of this. And then this is happening all across the colored lines, all across the states. And I think that also too, one thing that we could learn from Arizona is from the election, and as well, not just in Arizona, but also in other swing states, is the Native American vote can swing that. A lot of people do ignore the Native American people in their states because either they think that they're extinct or just a historical monument or just a sports mascot. You know, Cleveland Indians still thinks it's Indians. You know, this is all disrespectful and goes to show that people think that we are extinct people and we're just historical figures, but we are still here and we still have a voice and we still have an impact, especially in the political arena in these swing states. So to everyone watching live and here, when you're organizing, let's keep that in mind in regards to reaching out to Native American tribes, Native American organizations, to be able to push whether in these states or in redistricting areas as well.
Next question. Do you think that the various voter suppression bills are implemented because of cultural, racial, religious, or social media factors? And which do you think is the most impactful?
All of it. All of it. They just had a whistleblower from Facebook that just came out. And one of the main things she talked about was voter impactment of how to be able to swing people on who to vote for. And that is something that I don't know the exact numbers, maybe someone does, but how much money did everyone put in in that voting election period? It was so much money that was put in to push for certain people to become president or senators or councilman, congresswoman or whatever, but it was so much money put into that. And so, yes, I strongly believe that it is cultural, it is racial, and then in Georgia, which is a Bible belt, Texas, another Bible belt, you're looking at, we have to remember that, I want to say that I love Christianity. I love Jesus. But we do have to remember that Christianity was used against, on slavery and for enslavement, and so some people still have those values of this colonial Christianity religion, in some of these states. So with that voting process is also that voting process is also a part of that, with around cultural and racial and religious. So I believe that all of it is a huge impact in regards to that. And I also believe that we cannot act like social media is not swaying us to think a certain way. If we see something all the same way on, with the ads and everything like that, we start to believe it. If someone is telling you the same thing over and over and over and over again, you start to believe it. And if it's coming from different sources, you start to believe it instead of really doing your fact checking, and so I believe that had a major influence with that. And we saw that in the Trump era, and we saw that with the uprising over in Washington, D.C., with social media using a great impact for people to be able to fight, to riot in Washington, D.C., and as well as to vote for Trump. We saw that.
Follow up to that question
Yes.
before we move on to the next one. Of those items that Dr. Westenberg mentioned, cultural, racial, social media, religious, do you think they have equal influence on what is happening currently, or does one have a little more of a predominance than the other?
I believe that racial has a more dominant, and cultural. I think it's all. Yeah, I don't think that there's one or the other. I think all of them do.
Another question is, we've already, we've mentioned how we have to do coalition building. And I think it's evident that the NAACP is an organization, it's the oldest, the boldest civil rights organization, but we are also about coalition building and working together as we are co-presenting this discussion with Common Cause. And thank you to Nick and Eric for us collaborating together to put this on for everyone. Also, I want to mention that making sure that we emphasize that the NAACP is nonpartisan as well. you spoke about that, you know, you're not political and but the NACP is nonpartisan. The NACP advocates for equal rights for everyone. And the reason that the NACP is very concerned about the Voting Act is because we believe that voting is a human right. It's not relegated to any one particular group in the country, but it's a human right. So, and given that I think we're all aware that it has to be a coalition, that we're all in this together, right? Any strategic information or strategies that you would share with us that you've seen because you are on the national scale, right? Interact on the national scale. How do we make sure that that collective approach to solving this critical problem right now, because democracy is at risk? And I think most people are not, they are taking it lightly as to how close we are to losing this fragile democracy. So how do we energize people? How do we get people to work together and make sure, I think the country did a great job, you know, in this past election. How do we keep that momentum going?
Get out of our comfort zone. We have to get uncomfortable when reaching out to various people from all walks of life. And I want to acknowledge Fatima again, and when Yonasda Lonewolf, and Fatima will probably shout out some other people in regards to getting the Dr. Martin Luther King holiday. I was in high school, and I saw them organizing with people from all walks of life here. You know, back in, what was that, 94? 92?
93.
Yeah.
When we got the loan.
Yes. So you know, at that time, it was only 1% black people in Arizona. How many is it today? 8%? Good job. But imagine 1%. Dr. Martin Luther King values and everything he taught about was to fight against freedom, justice, and equality. Fight for freedom, justice, and equality. And what race and culture of people do not believe in that? We all believe in that. And when I saw them organize to get the Latino community, the white community that was for Dr. Martin Luther King, the Asian community, the Native American community to come together to make sure that we got a holiday was amazing. And that was them getting out of their comfort zone to go into communities to make this happen. And I always looked at that in basically what I do on a national scale is just an extension of Fatima and Yonasda and those that were on that committee and all the works that they've done. I don't do anything different than what they have already established. And I think that it's important to go to these people that have established this, especially here in Arizona. Arizona is organizing on coalition building should be used as a blueprint, especially those that did it in the 80s and 90s. The reason why there is a multicultural committee for the city of Phoenix is because of people like Fatima and others that was there during that time. They really fought through so many barriers to make sure that everyone was coming together to make Arizona and Phoenix the way that it is now. The reason why we're seeing, so many holidays and festivals and all of these things, schools, to be able to appreciate one another is because of these people. So I think that it's important to be able to reach out to them and look at, okay, how can we do this? How can we organize this? Because I'm gonna say this, is that when I go into other cities, a lot of other cities are very black and white, very, very black and white. And talking about freedom, justice, and equality, but suppressing the Latino people that's in that community, suppressing the Caribbean people that are in that community, the natives in that community, other people of other walks of life, and suppressing them, but still saying, when it's black and white, still saying freedom, justice, and equality. But how can you say that when you're not acknowledging the other cultures and races that are in your city? So it's important that we have to get out of our comfort zone and being able to go into the barrio, go into on the reservation, go in the hood. And one thing I see in Atlanta, Georgia is it's a predominantly black city, but we're dealing with classism. It's the us versus them. We see this in India. India is a huge place of classism. We see this also in certain parts of Africa, of classism. Why do we do that? We have to decolonize the way that we look at one another, way that we look at ourselves, and get down to our indigenous roots, getting back to these roots of values to be able to connect with one another and to be able to, like, okay, you know, it's okay to go into the hood if you live in suburbia, you know, and vice versa. You know, we have to get out of our comfort zone to organize, to coalition build, and to be able to make changes in our community. But my advice here in Phoenix is to reach out to some of these people that were from the 80s and the 90s here in Phoenix, Arizona, to pull on their knowledge. And to pull on what they did to make the unimaginable happen, which was to not only get a Dr. Martin Luther King holiday, when I remember when we was marching, how the KKK was spitting on us in the 90s. And they were, this is, when I talk about the KKK, it's not like something from a movie. This is something that we saw, and if anyone remembers, we saw right in our face when we was marching up and down Central Avenue for the Martin Luther King holiday, and so every single year, and these people were the ones that were organizing during that time. And who else was around during that time organizing? So you all know, exactly. So I think that it's important that that us young people, us youth, you know, to do that. Yes.
There you go. That was going to be my next question. I am acutely aware that there is, in some ways, a generational divide. There is an energy here in Phoenix. There's an energy of young people, and they are doing things, and we have the elders, and they are doing things, and they're sort of vying for positions, and they're not exactly coming together. Or why don't you give it? What do you see as a strategy for getting the next gen and the elders together? I have a term that I've called it, from Ramses know, because he has a circle, the cipher, okay?
Yeah.
Is what I would like to see happen, but how do you think that should be developed or created? How should we get
I think creating an event, a small event, of, you know, you have griots. You all are the griots
Yes, indeed.
of the movement.
Yes, indeed.
And we have to educate this younger generation of the responsibility of a griot from the African village, and bringing that into the movement of today, and bringing that in and creating maybe a griot mixer, and incorporating a talking circle, a Native American way of everyone speaking equally, but also learning from our griots that are here. And we do in Atlanta, Georgia, once a month, I have a talking circle with activists and with families that lost their loved ones to police brutality, and but also with some of our elders from the NAACP, from Southern, thank you so much, thank you. And as well as those that were around during that time, so we can learn. And then every time we're organizing, we make sure that they're at the table. I think that it's important. I know that some younger generation, we have to, my age group, our 40s and 30-year-olds, have to teach the 20-year-olds and those that are younger, saying it's important to have our elders, our griots, in these organizing meetings. To be honest with you, we don't, Derrick Rose out of Atlanta, Georgia, we don't organize unless he's at the table. And he's in his 80s. And because we're not reinventing the wheel. So all the young people watching, this ain't new. You're not the first. We have to be able to know that, and know that you all have created, you all have extended the blueprint of Marcus Garvey. You all have extended the blueprint of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, of so many other people that have already wrote out a blueprint of how we can be able to have freedom, justice, and equality, and as well as empowerment with one another. And so you all are extensions of that, and us are right there looking at, okay, what can we build on that blueprint? And we have to continue to build. But it's important, so with saying that, my suggestion is having a griot mixer and getting the younger generation
We have
to
some
come.
people out there, you know I'm coming, don't you? You are.
And I think, the Bible is one big testimony. It's the testimony of all these great prophets. We're creating a new Bible today. We have to be able to listen to everyone's testimony of what they went through. How did you get this holiday passed? How did you get this passed? How did you get, because to be honest with you, the fire in this new generation is amazing. But we all need to be polished. And only our elders can be able to polish us, because they are already, the wisdom that you all have is amazing, and we need to respect that.
No.
That's the conclusion. Another comment, or what your perspective on the Freedom to Vote Act, because you know that the Freedom to Vote Act will, in a sense, kind of suppress these other laws, these 33 laws that are being passed in the states. You see anything happening? How do we collectively across the nation encourage those folks who are hindering the passage of those, like the Freedom to Vote Act?
I think the phone banking should not just happen during election time, but I think the phone banking should happen 365. We have all of these, we have the access to so many people. So these type of things of change and wanting to, to continue to keep people awareness, I think phone banking needs to continue to happen. I know we all get tired of seeing all these text messages, but I think that needs to continue to happen to keep people engaged. Yes.
And I think Dr. Westenberg and I have talked about this before in terms of also, when we're phone banking, also phone bank those folks, that the folks who are on the side of equality and justice for all, be sure we send them messages of thank you, right? As well as we're phone banking, to encourage those to get on board who are not seeing what's good for the collective body, but those who act in the best interest of everyone, make sure we thank them as well. Do you want to close with their call to action, call and response? Okay.
Yes, Nick, were you
For
able
our
to get
call
the
and
links for our
response.
call and response? You do have them? Okay, good, then I'll let you get them.
Okay.
As we were thinking about today, and we said, my sentiment, get going. We do these types of things, and we talk, and we talk, and we talk, but then what happens after you leave? And much of what we talk about, we know, and we get new information. We've heard from your lens today, from a cohort of our humanity that we may not really know. And I know about some of the travels and where you've really been there as a foot soldier, putting your life on the line. I always want to come out with something that we do, rather than say, it was nice. And so I thought about call and response, as opposed to a call to action. A call and response. A call and response means that it has to be participatory. And so if you engage in it, then you are a part of it. And that's one of the distinct differences in African and African American culture. We are a participatory people. We don't sit and listen, you sit and you listen to the symphony. But we're moving, we're getting, we respond, amen. We are engaged. And so I decided that I wanted to call on our African tradition with call and response. And I'm going to give the definition. It is a widespread pattern of democratic participation in public gatherings, in the discussion of civic affairs, in religious rituals, as well as in vocal and instrumental musical expression. African bondsmen and bondswomen in the Americas continued this practice over the centuries in various forms of expression. It's used even with children. You find it in blues, in jazz, in rhythm and blues, in soul, in hip hop. It is derived from the historical African roots that served as the foundation for African American cultural traditions. The call and response format became a diasporic tradition and is a part of Africans and African Americans creating a new, unique tradition in the United States. And so today, I don't want us to engage in a call to action, because this is acting, but I'm not asking you to respond. We have set up a method for today to be participatory, and I hope this concept is something that we can continue, that we embrace our culture, and it isn't the European approach of call to action, but is the Afrocentric call and response. And so today, we do have a response that we are asking from you, and Nick is going to give that to you, and hopefully you will engage in it, and we're going to try this strategy, but we need to embrace ourselves. We need to become participatory. Call to action is not really participatory. It's observational, and you do it if you want to. Call and response really engages you. And so Nick, if you will give what we're going to do is a call
And we're calling on you and those of you that are live streaming it, we're calling on you to do something and then respond to us.
And respond to us.
Our call to you is, what can you do? What will you do? And then respond back to us. And the way to respond back to us, Nick, is where are they going to respond back to us? Give us some response.
I'll type out that number.
Okay.
The response goes to 623-414-7979. And we each know, most of you, 623-414-7979.
Our call to you is, what action will you do? What will you do? Will you send a postcard? Will you make a phone call? Will you talk to your neighbor? And call us or text us. They can text as well. Your response, your response, you can call or text your response to 623-414-7979.
And let us know what
Talk
you
back
did.
to us. Let us know. That's your amen. Tell us amen.
That's your amen.
Amen. Amen, brother. Let it come to fruition.
So Nick wasn't getting enough phone calls?
Ms. Wilson, we need it to come to fruition. Or you can say amen. This can come to fruition.
Yes, thank you so very much. Okay. Okay. At this particular juncture, we would like to give you the floor to provide any additional comments that you would like to share with us. And I cannot Thank you. You know, let's give her a, I mean, bravo, out there fighting the fight, okay? And we just love the fact that you're doing it. We're proud of you coming from us
Yes.
here, out there doing it. So,
Thank you.
welcome home and thank you so very much.
Thank you. Thank you to the NAACP, and
Hope
Common
I'm right.
Cause, and to everyone that is here today that took time out of your busy schedule. You know, I wanna share this. I'm battling lung cancer. I found out last year, in the midst of Freedom Summer, which was crazy. And so to come here and to take that flight, I haven't flew in like 2 months because of the high risk of COVID, and I am a high risk person, but I wanted to make sure that I come. I haven't seen my family and friends for a long, long time, and this is home, and it does put a boost in my back. And one of the precious gifts that we could give one another is time and to be present. And that's the best gift that all of you all have given me today, and I want to thank you all for giving me your time and to being present here. So once again, thank you so much. And you can follow me. I'm on all social media platforms. I'm the only Yonasda in the world. But you could just, you know, if you Google me, it's not all true. But that just means I'm doing something right. And but I want to close with teaching you all a song from my mother. And because we are in the place, my mother, Yonasda Lonewolf. Anyone know my mother, Yonasda Lonewolf? Yes, it's an honor.
Your brother?
Yes. Yeah.
Is your brother?
Yeah, and I want to acknowledge my favorite brother in the whole wide world.
Only brother.
Julio, for coming. Julio is an amazing person. He was right by my mother's side, speaking and doing motivational speaking, and he's just amazing in everything that he does. And he really knows how to be able to gather and get people on one accord. And so if you all ever need a speaker, go to my brother, Julio. I'm pushing him into his purpose. And my nephew and his girlfriend, Abigail, thank you all so much for coming. I want to acknowledge that. And once again, my second mom, Fatima. I was just saying this, and I know we have to close, but I was saying this, is that my mother, being Native American, could not teach me how to be a Black woman. She could teach me how to be a Native American woman. And she could teach me about being a Lakota woman in the Native American culture. But she brought an amazing tribe. It really does take a village to raise a child. And my mother was very adamant on that. And so I call her my second mom because she taught me how to be a Black woman. And then she taught me about the beauty of Africa and all the various tribes of Africa. So while my mother was teaching me about all the native tribes of Turtle Island, it was Fatima that was teaching me about all of the African tribes and the beauty and the culture and the richness of that. And so I call her, that's why I call her my second mom, because she taught me that, to not just be proud to be a Native American woman, but also to be a Black woman. So thank you, Fatima, for that. And so with us being so my mother, she passed away of lung cancer in 2003. The city of, was it the governor that gave her Yonasda Lonewolf Day in April? We have not really commemorated that. We should in April. But they gave her, because she did such amazing work here locally, and all those that remember my mother remember how her fiery and everything. And I'm an Aries like her, so if you see similarities, that's because I am truly Yonasda's daughter. So I am.
I've been seeing you since you were probably about 12.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
You are just like your mother. It's such a blessing.
Thank you so much. So you may remember this song. My mother was to teach this song to everyone, and what it means is that when you have a pebble and you throw a pebble in the water, and it gives a rippling effect. So when we're talking about call and response, call to actions, things that we have to be able to do, every word, every thought that you think has a rippling effect. So, you know, as we are going through this wonderful journey called life, it's so important that we have positive thoughts, positive actions, and take the time out to be able to treat each other with kindness and honesty. And because like I said, time is very, very, very precious. So I didn't bring my drum, but we're gonna do a little clap. But everyone sit down because you're gonna stand up when you know the song. So it's Hey Nickety, and my mother would sing this song everywhere she went, and her tradition was she was given this song from the grandmothers of Canada that gave her this song, and they said everywhere she goes she has to sing this song and teach people. And so I have continued that on. Recently I went down to St. Thomas, and I spoke with youth in St. Thomas at a community center. And in their Caribbean accent, they were singing this song, and they could not stop singing it, and it just brought tears to my eyes, because my mother will be rejoicing in the spirit realm today to see that this song made it to St. Thomas. So I'm going to extend that to you all. When you learn the song, everywhere you go, continue to teach this song, okay? Once you have the song, you're gonna stand up. So when you feel confident, that's when you stand up, and I'll continue to sing, and I'm not the best singer, but but I'll continue to sing until everyone is standing, okay? All right, okay. Hey, nickety, hey, wanna. Hey, nickety, hey, wanna. Oh, she wanna. You know, hold on, let me pause. Julio, come up here. And do you want to share anything before we teach?
No.
Okay. All right. Okay, let's go. Hey, nickety, hey, wanna. Hey, nickety, hey, wanna. Oh, she wanna, hey, wanna. Oh, she wanna, hey, wanna. Oh, hey, nickety, hey, wanna. Hey, nickety, hey, wanna. Oh, she wanna, hey, wanna. Oh, she wanna, hey, wanna. Oh, hey, nickety, hey, wanna. Hey, nickety, hey, wanna. Oh, she wanna, hey, wanna. Oh, she wanna, hey, wanna. Oh, hey, nickety, hey, wanna. Hey, nickety, hey, wanna. Oh, she wanna, hey, wanna. Oh, she wanna, hey, wanna. Oh, hey, nickety, hey, wanna. Hey, nickety, hey, wanna. Oh, she wanna, hey, wanna. Oh, she wanna, hey, wanna. Oh, hey, nickety, hey, wanna. Hey, nickety, hey, wanna. Oh, she wanna, hey, wanna. Oh, she wanna, hey, wanna. Oh, hey, nickety, hey, wanna. Hey, nickety, hey, wanna. Oh, she wanna, hey, wanna. Oh, she wanna, hey, wanna.
In conclusion, I would just like to say thank you very much for everyone who came, and we were recognizing pioneers and trailblazers. We talked about the Martin Luther King holiday and what that did, and we have one of our pioneers here with us this morning, Dr. Jean Blue, as well. Dr. Jean Blue. And we spoke about the unity between the pioneers and the trailblazers, and the griots and the ones that are coming along. And I would just like to share with you the fact that the Maricopa County branch of the NACP, every year, annually, when we do our community awards, we focus on who are the griots, who are the pioneers, who are the trailblazers. So we don't just recognize, you know, the leaders of the 80s and the 90s, but who's there that we can pass the baton to and bring forward. Is that Rayford back there? Is that Jacob right there? Okay, our young trailblazer right there, okay? So, Rocky Tirade.
Yes.
So Miss Mache.
Miss Mache.
Yes, Leah.
All of us in the room, as far as I'm concerned, all of us here in the room, we are pioneers and trailblazers, right? Whether your name is at the top of the billboard or you're the person there supporting the person whose name is on the billboard. Because their name wouldn't be on the billboard if we didn't have folks that were there supporting them, okay? So, in conclusion, I would just like to say, please, follow through with our share and response live stream. For those of you that are live streaming, thank you for your time as well. Please respond to us 623-414-7979, and peace be unto you all.